on the screen I see we have at least one person from the public. Is that correct?
Yes, the gentleman wishes to speak for item number 2.
Okay, terrific. Okay, so it's 3:30 and I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Development Permit Panel for June the 28th. Just by way of brief introduction, on the panel today we have Cecilia Asham, our General Manager of Community Safety. We've also got Milton Chan, our Director of Engineering, and my name is Joe Urseg. I'm the General Manager of Planning and Development. So on the agenda today, we have 3 development projects that we'll be considering. For each of the projects, we will hear a presentation from the applicant and the applicant's design team. We will then hear city staff comments, and we will also open up the floor for any members of the public that would like to provide comments to the panel before we deliberate on the actual application. The way that the process works, the panel will, at the end of the day, at the end of that process, formulate a recommendation to council. If it's a positive recommendation, then at some point in the near future, the application would proceed to a council meeting for consideration by council. So I think that's it for introductions. The first item on the agenda is actually adoption of some minutes of a previous meeting held on June the 14th. So I'm assuming there's no additional deletions or anything like that. Okay, so do they have to be moved and seconded? Sure. Okay, moved, seconded, call the question, their minutes are adopted. Okay, so that brings us to the first application on the agenda. It's a development permit. The applicant is Zhao XD Architect Limited, and the property location, it's a number of lots, and it ranges from 9,200 to 9,340 Francis Road. And the purpose of this development permit is to allow for the construction of 25 townhouse units on the property. So with that, I'm going to ask, I'm assuming the applicant is here. Can you make yourself known?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay. So who have we got? Just introduce yourself, please.
My name is Joanna.
Okay.
And so it's my design team that's gonna apply for me for this.
So who's making the presentation today?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear somebody.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think the video start. Yeah, I'm here.
We can hear you and we can see you on the tile.
Okay, great.
Maybe just tell us your name.
My name is Shudong Zhao. I'm the applicant from Zhao XD Architect Limited.
Okay. All right. What do you want to tell us about this project?
Okay, I will introduce about this project. This is a 25-unit townhouse development facing an arterial road, Francis Road, per city arterial road land use policy and arterial road guidelines for townhouses.
So I'm assuming we're going to get some plans up on screen so we can see them.
Can you see this?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any manager for this meeting that I can bring up the PDF to the screen? Or
you can share the screen.
Yeah, the screen. I have a PDF, yes, here.
Evangel, can you help out at all?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We will have the presentation up shortly.
Okay. Okay,
Yes. Yeah, this is a 25-unit townhouse development facing the Francis Road and Arterial Road. A driveway access is directly from the street, connecting to an east-west internal driveway. The entry driveway is lined up with Heather Street on north, across the Francis Road. There are 9 buildings. One is the 5 units, 2 buildings are fourplex, and then 6 buildings facing rear yard are 2-story duplex buildings with proper setbacks and building heights to match the single-family neighborhood on south. 4 buildings. The front buildings that adjacent to neighbors of single-family houses or buildings are designed with 2-story in building height within 7.5 meter distance. It can be a good transition between the development and the single-family neighbor for the front elevations. Sun shading diagram is made to make sure there will be not big impact to neighbors as well for the subject development on the site. There will be quite much sunshine for the outdoor amenity area of the development.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt the presenter. Can the presenter advise us which slides to?
Yes, this is I'm talking about. Yes, you can see my mouse, the moving, the front 3 buildings, and then the 6 buildings on the rear yard. This is the rear yard, yes. And we have adaptable units, 3 adaptable units, which is very close to the drive entry for the convenience. The proposed building are designed in modern style. The building heights, massing, and the scale of details fits the site context. We follow the city's guidelines for the Arterial Road townhouse, so the height and the complexity of the building scales, and it fit to the neighborhood. The degree of complexity matches the neighboring building in the respect of both material, color, and form composition, including degree of the design detailing are all considered. So both harmony and contrast for the design composition. The architectural character matches the existing neighborhood, emphasizing the residential building character in both building massing and the details. Yeah, this is a model you can see, the scaled model. We're doing studies for the massing. Yeah, that's the material we're using. So we introduce also some masonry and the hardy products. So it's a mix of the for the composition. Yeah, this is the facade, front facade. Repetition of the units as well as variation to add some breakups to the repetitions. Repetition of the townhouse units allows the function of the to express the function of the building. It also creates a rhythm of architecture expression along the street front. Variations with different color and the change of detail are well considered for this exterior street frontage. Upper portion of the building and the roof line follow the same design expression with repetitions and variations for both the rhythm and some breakups for the interest. Yeah, we did some shadow studies. This is a shadow. We make sure that's no big impact to the neighbors, as well as it's good. We receive all sanctions within the development side, particularly for the amenity area. So we have quite much sanctions. Yeah, building material. Building materials and colors will include masonry veneer for ground floor walls, hardy siding, hardy panels on the upper story. Color selections are made in association with the geometry, with the form of the building. The outdoor amenity area follows the city requirements and the guidelines required for the townhouse development. It is located in the middle of the site. It also at the rear side of the site for both security, for children to play, and get more sunshine for the open area. Mailbox is located nearby with roof cover above. Visitor bicycle rack are also there for convenience. Garbage and recycling closet are located near the driveway entry for easy pickup by city truck. They are also hidden from the street view, not visible to the street. The location of outdoor amenity area also considered for tree protections, as there are too good trees to be protected. The beauty of trees are not hidden, but shared with the outdoor amenity area.
Mr. Zhao, I'm
Yes.
having trouble. There seems to be no relationship between what you're showing us on the screen and what you're speaking to.
Yes. It's
So what's going on with your presentation?
yes. This is the first page. Is referred to the first page.
Well, I would appreciate if when you're talking about the amenity area, you show us a site plan showing the amenity area. When you're talking about tree retention, you show us where the trees are that are being retained, and not be jumping around showing us images that we've already seen.
Yes. It's here. Yeah, this week we spend quite much time to protect preserve these trees. And also with the engineering, as we have an issue of because for the upgrading of the utility easement, so that will impact the protection of the trees. So we incorporate with the city engineer and use special techniques. And to still we can have these trees to be well preserved. And also with the expertise of the arborist. So these trees, and we define very clearly with the fence and in association with children's play equipment to make sure the tree roots will be protected. And this will be presented by landscape architect later on. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So does that conclude your part of the presentation?
Yes, that's a kind of these are actually in the other materials that I believe you have. That's for the accepted considerations, and also the adaptability, as I briefly showed in the beginning of this presentation. That we have for the convertible units, which is designed per the guideline that can easily be converted for the accessibility.
Okay, thank you. We do have a pretty comprehensive staff report that outlines all of that.
Okay.
But my suggestion for future presentations would be to align what you're speaking to with the images that you're showing at that time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, your landscape architect is going to present the landscaping for this project.
Yes. Phoenix. Yes. It's your time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. My name is Phoenix Chan. I'm the project landscape architect. So the second one, the page now you are looking at is the landscape design rationale and the green infrastructure we are thinking for this project. So this is like a townhome development project. The first thing we are thinking is the street-oriented unit. So how to provide decent amount of space for each of the unit, like the 2.4-meter wide patio, the large open non-space, and also the buffer planting between the frontage fence and the sidewalk. That's what we are thinking. And then the second major thing we look into for this project is the tree protection, because on the south side of this development project, we have a whole bunch very large existing tree. We will try to protect them and preserve them. So we work together with the project arbors and also the city staff to protect those trees and preserve them. And also because this is kind of the development project, we need to provide age-friendly amenity space for the residents. 50% of the amenity space is dedicated to play area. So we work together with the project arbors, try to get the robust play structure on the side, but also away from the critical tree zone. So it's not affecting the existing tree. And another thing is because the pay tower you can see on the amenity area plan is kind of close to the internal driveway. So we also implement a small, like a playful fence to separate between the driveway and the amenity space. And also it's provide some kind of a security for the children there. They are not running directly to the driveway, and provide some seating so the parents could sit there gathering and looking at their kids playing around. And then the last item we're looking at is the green infrastructure. The planting we propose is bird and pollinator friendly, and so it's helping to establish the habitat, and also what we think the planting material is like a drought tolerance, easy to be maintained, and also the biodiversity. And another thing we also looking into it is we propose some permeable paving along the driveway and along those like visitor parking. So we will coordinate with the project civil to ensure the stormwater management for this project. Next slide, please. So this is the landscape plan for the entire project. You can see there's a light building, 25 units. Each of them, we provide a decent amount of space for the front yard and the backyard, large patio, seating space, so people can put up their like table and chair, and also barbecue and sitting outside. Large open lawn space. We look at the grade, so minimum 2%, maximum 5% usable space for the lawn, and buffer planting along with the street front, and also in the back we also provide like a hedge planting, and you can see some pedestrian image for the electro playhouse, and also some of the feature paving for the patio, for the entry, and some of the area because it's between the house. They are kind of dark, but we still try to propose some kind of landscape feature like the boulder and river rock as a decoration. Yeah, and next slide, please. So this is some of the pedestrian image we proposed for this project, the paving material and biorugs, the lounge seating, the trellis, and the entry signage you can see in some of this picture. And also we have a painting palette, what we coordinate with the horticulture technician and ensure those like biodiversity, bird and pollinator friendly. So that's all for the landscape. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions for the panel?
No.
Oh, okay. Mr. Craig, do you have staff comments for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few comments. There is a servicing agreement associated with this project. That servicing agreement involves frontage works along the arterial road, city utility upgrades as referenced during the presentation. The utility upgrade along the rear of the property, there is special techniques being used in order to save the trees along that rear property line. The servicing agreement will also provide for site services. The driveway will be secured by way of statutory right-of-way in order to provide future access to adjacent sites should they redevelop in the future. There are 9 trees being retained as part of this development. There are 3 in the outdoor amenity space and then 6 along the rear property line. The development is being designed to achieve energy level step code 2 with the introduction or the use of low carbon heat pumps for heating and cooling of the residents. And then there are 3 convertible units included in the project as well. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks. Are there any questions for Wayne? Cecilia? Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about the lighting for this development. Can somebody just address that? And secondly, it's just a comment. I heard the landscape architect said we're going to try to protect the trees. No, you have committed to protecting the trees, so please do more than try.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, we are protecting that. Yeah, thank you.
And somebody talk about the lighting, please.
Yes, the lighting. Lighting is one. We provide a plan, and we did some studies, and also per city requirement and guidelines, we should make the anti-glare, won't like disturb the neighbors. So with the mechanical electric engineer, we select the type of the lights and also it's motion sensitive to save the energy. So we make sure that those hidden corners, the remote corners are well illuminated for the safety, for the safety design and principles. And yes, it's very well considered.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Evangel, do we have anyone in attendance that wants to present from the public that wants to comment on this project?
There's one joining remotely, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
You guys hear me? This is for Marsha Wenger.
We can hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. If you can just start with your name and address for the record and then any comments that you would like to make.
Okay, I live at 9360 Francis Road. I'm Marsha Wenger. So I'm right next door to this complex that started in 2017. We're now in 2023, and one of the houses is empty. The rest of them are rented out. When are we actually going to start on this complex? Because they're not keeping up the houses. It used to be a nice street. It looks like a bloody ghetto now. Also, nobody mentioned visitor parking. I've got a 24-unit complex across my street that has 12 visitor parking. Each one has a 2-car garage, and yet they all want to park in front of my house. I've also got another complex coming in right next door to them, and I've got this one coming in on the other side of me. So are we going to address the proper parking? Because the people across the street don't think they should be able to use the visitor parking. They can park all over the neighborhood. I've been here since 1989. Never seen such a mess. And if you're asking about this development, I think it's the ugliest townhouse complex I've ever seen. But yes, I got to have it next door to me because you want more people in Richmond. I get it. But do I like it? No, not at all. What would you like to comment on that one?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wenger. I'm not going to debate your
Wenger,
opinion.
thank you.
You're entitled to the opinion regarding the...
Yes, I am. Also, Mr. Ursak, on the last meeting that I attended, council was sitting there so proud of themselves because it was an affordable complex. Oh, how wonderful, an affordable complex. Well, it's so affordable, nobody can even afford to build it. So how many more years am I waiting to see something here?
Well, if you let me finish, ma'am, I was waiting for you to let us know all of your concerns and questions and opinions, and then I will have the applicant address the start time issue, what their timing is to commence construction. And I think I'll have you, Wayne, address there was a concern about visitor parking and what provision has been made for visitor parking. So let's go to the applicant first. What is your timeline for construction? I take the point that this proposal has been around since 2017.
Yes, we know the concern of that, the old buildings. So right now the building permit application is underway, and we are going to submit the building permit shortly. And
when do you expect to break ground?
Break ground, I think once we got the permit approved by the city.
Mr. Chow, please give me a date. Give me some estimate other than
estimate is like within a year time. Within a year, it's all up to the city. Like usually, if the city approves the building permit in 3 months, and then it starts in 3 months. The construction.
I'm going to take issue with it's up to the city. The city has not been responsible for the 6 years between when this was first initiated and today. And provided that your building permit submission application is up to standard, you can expect a fairly timely approval for that. So I'm just wondering that your neighbour is asking, when do you expect to break ground and get going with this development? So can you indicate a month when you expect that's going to happen?
Like in, I believe, based on the progress of the building permit application, it can happen in 2 or 3 months.
Okay, good. And I'm going to suggest to you, it's not the job of the panel to assess building condition, but your neighbour has a concern that some of the houses on the property are not being well maintained. So I would ask you to contact your neighbour after this meeting and have a discussion about that and do what you can to address any concerns, okay?
Yes, we are welcome to all their comments, and we'll address their concerns once we got their the suggestions and comments.
Yeah, I'd suggest you actually reach out and meet with your neighbour and see what the concerns are, and then make your very best effort to address
Yes, that's a good advice.
Mr. Craig, visitor parking.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In terms of the development, there are 2 side-by-side parking stalls for each unit. They are provided in a garage for each unit. In terms of visitor parking, the project is providing 5 visitor parking stalls. That is compliant with the city's zoning bylaw. The visitor parking stalls are located throughout the site to provide ease of access to visitors.
Yeah. Wayne, in terms of, for someone that doesn't live and breathe the zoning bylaw, is this project providing more overall parking than is required under the zoning bylaw?
Through the chair, no, it is not oversupplying parking, and it's providing parking as per the bylaw. So the bylaw does require two stalls per dwelling unit and 0.2 stalls per unit for visitors.
Okay. So it's in full compliance.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other people that want to provide any comments regarding this project?
No, Mr. Chair, there's no one in the chambers for this item.
Okay, thank you. So we do have a staff recommendation that's positive. Is there someone that's willing to move or second that?
I'll move it.
Milton, you're going to move it. Cecilia, second it. Okay. Before I call the question, I guess I'll just say that I do get that this project complies with our bylaw and our design requirements, and it's gone through a pretty thorough review. So I am prepared to support it today. I think that regarding your neighbour, I would strongly encourage you before this moves on to council to meet with your neighbour and hear whatever concerns there are, and then, as I said, do your best to address it. There will also be before a building permit is issued, a parking and construction plan to deal with the worker parking and deliveries and that type of thing. So on the recommendation, it's moved and seconded. I'm going to call the question. All those in favour? Opposed? So it's carried. Thank you for your project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Evangel, do we need a minute or two for the next applicant to set up?
No, Mr. Chair, they're in the Zoom meeting right now.
Okay, good. So I'll just go on and introduce the second development on the agenda today. It's also a development permit. The applicant is Cadium, number 4 Development Limited, and the general location is in the 10,340 to 10,420 block of number 4 road. And the purpose of this development permit is to allow for the construction of, I believe, 19 townhouses on the site. So who's the applicant for this one? Mr. Cheng, are you presenting this today? You're mute, Mr. Cheng. You're still muted.
Excuse me, there's some technical issue here.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm the applicant and the architect for this project, and I'm trying to start the sharing screen right now.
Okay.
15
so you're Matthew Cheng, just for the record. And what's your address, Matthew?
My address is Suite 202, 670 Evans Avenue in Vancouver.
Okay. So we can see your presentation now, or at least I can. I think everyone else I see some. So I think you're good to go.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Matthew Cheng. Developer for this project is Cadium number 4 Development Limited. Architect is Matthew Cheng Architect Incorporated. And landscape architect is PMG Landscape Architects. This is a 19-unit townhouse project, and the site is composed of 5 lots from 10,340 to 10,420 number 4 road. This site is located at number 4 road, only about 250 meters from Steveston Highway. We are proposing to rezone from RS1E to RTM2. The permitted FAR is 0.65 based on the net site area after 2 meters of road dedication. We are proposing FAR of 0.649. Since this section of number 4 road is classified as bike route, 2 meters dedication is required along the frontage of number 4 road in the light purple area on the slide. There is an existing 3-meter SRW on the east property line, which indicated by the light blue color on the slide. The 3-meter SRW is enlarged to 6 meters at the north side corner, which is indicated by the dark blue color on the slide. For rerouting the utility from the original 3-meter SRW in order to save trees on the neighbor side to the east, where the tree protection zone is within the 3-meter SRW. Sorry, I just go back to my previous one.
And did I hear that you've modified the SRW to protect the trees on the neighbour's property? Is that right?
Yeah, you can see it. This area is a dark blue area, and there are some trees on the my pointer is pointing here. So we are pointing the utility in order to save the tree on the neighbor's property.
Okay, good.
And we are following on this slide. We are providing cross-access easement to the property to the north since the residual lots which are designated as townhouses could not fulfill the minimum 50-meter frontage requirement, which is on the right-hand side of the slide. We are proposing 19 units townhouses in the front and back rows. There are 3 buildings in the front row and 4 buildings at the back. 4.5 meter setback is provided after dedication for the front yard, and 6 meter rear setback and minimum 3 meter side setback are proposed, which fulfill the arterial road townhouse guidelines. The 3 buildings in the front row are composed of buildings with 4 units, 3 units, and 6 units in order to create a variation of building mass along number 4 road. The front building are 3-story, but step down to 2.5-story against the existing single-family houses to the north and south property of this development. Within 7.5 meters to the side property line, the building have only 2-story in building height. The building are also stepped down to 2-story on either side of the entrance driveway. The 4 buildings at the back row are composed of 2-story building of duplexes, and 2 buildings of duplexes, and 2 buildings of single-unit building. All the rear units are 2-story, which give a good transition in building scale to the single-family houses behind the property. Wall mount light fixtures at the top or side of the garage door are provided to provide lighting for the driveway. Decks are provided on the second floor of the front building of living room on the driveway side to fulfill the unit outdoor space requirement of 30 square meters together with the front yard outdoor space. The top floor are set back 1 foot from the second floor to reduce the building mass as seen from number 4 road. Regarding the grading of the property, the main floor elevation of all units is set to be 0.3 meter above the ground of number 4 road. The finished grade is sloped slightly from the building to number 4 road and to the north and south property line, so no retaining wall is required on all 3 sides. However, the finished grade on the east property line is 0.6 to 0.7 meter above the rear yard of the single-family houses to the east. Also, the grade of the 3-meter SRW, which is adjacent to the east property line, could not be altered, and there are trees and tree protection zone within the SRW. Therefore, low retaining walls are proposed at the west edge of the SRW to split the backyard of the rear unit into 2 tiers. The elevation of the upper tier will be compatible with the interior space, which makes the unit more accessible to the upper tier of the rear yard. There are 38 residential parking in garages and 4 visitor parking spaces, including 1 space for accessible van parking, which is 4.9 meter wide. Among the 38 residential parking spaces, 11 are small car, which is within the parking bylaw allowance of 50%, with the parking space are over 31. 2 indoor accessible parking spaces are provided in both convertible units. 36 indoor bike space have been provided in the garages, which is beyond the 24 space requirement based on 1.25 per unit. 4 outdoor bike rack has been provided at the space between buildings C and D, which fulfill the 0.2 space per unit requirement. The provision of SU9 turning has been provided. The PMT is located on the south side of the site entrance driveway, and the location has been approved by BC Hydro. A new hydrant is proposed on the south side of the entry driveway. The distance from the hydrant to the fire truck is 45 meter maximum, and from the fire truck to the every unit entry door is 45 meter maximum too. The distance is measured in line parallel to the driveway and not in diagonals. Regarding accessibility, 2 convertible units are provided at the north and south end of the front building. Essentially, the whole site is accessible. There's 1 accessible visitor parking space, and the site is catered for accessible van of 4.59 meter, including loading area. The outdoor amenity space is centrally located, and the area fulfills 6.6 square meter per unit requirement. There will be a common garbage and recycle room for the project located off the north and south side of the entry driveway. And back to the slide, and the mailbox kiosk is located in the outdoor amenity space, which is convenient to the audience, to the residents, sorry. Regarding convertible unit, there are 2 convertible units at the north and south end of the front building, and the unit fulfill all convertible unit guidelines. The accessible bedroom are located on the 2nd floor. The whole unit from ground floor to 3rd floor is accessible by platform-style chairlift, which could carry the wheelchair between floors. Other features, including door with washroom, kitchen, windows, outlet switches, will be provided as per convertible unit guidelines. There will be 4 lockup units. 2 units are located at the north and south end of the front building, and also 2 more units on either side of the entry driveway. The lockup unit fulfill the minimum 25 square meter requirement, and the layout includes bathroom, kitchenette, sleeping area, and a desk. Also, stacked washer and dryer are provided at all lockup units. Regarding sustainability, step code 3 will be required and provided. Certified energy advisor has been retained, and air source heat pump will be used and designed by mechanical engineers. The location of the outdoor unit of the air source heat pump has been proposed, and the screening will be provided by high quality 3'6" tall aluminum knotwood fence, which are removable for maintenance of the machine. Regarding the form and character, it is the West Coast contemporary style. This style is achieved by providing a clean look, including all trim for fiber cement board to be the same color as the cement board. The developer believes this architectural style will be more appealing to the younger generation family, which are the target buyers for townhouses in this section of number 4 road. Affordability is important for the young family. So that's why we have provided 4 lockup units, which could be important for the mortgage helping. The site is located within 200 meters from a community commercial center, where a daycare or after school is located at the corner of number 4 road and Sifton Highway, which could be a favorite to the young family. We believe this design will improve the future elevation of this neighborhood in a more sustainable way and bring in young family to give energy to this community. The cladding material is Nichita product in charcoal and off-white color, together with wood grain stained color on lap sidings. Trim and front door will be painted in dark gray. Gutter and downpipe will be charcoal, and the windows and garage door will be painted in charcoal too. There are some model view of the project. This view is a view from number 4 row of the overall complex from the northwest corner. This is the view of the entry driveway to the complex. This is the view of the model at the northwest corner from number 4 road. This is the view of the model from the west corner from number 4 road. And the last picture is the view for the internal driveway from the southeast corner. So this ends the architectural presentation. I will pass the landscape architect.
Thank you. Thank you for a comprehensive presentation. That was appreciated.
So good afternoon. My name is Denitsa Dimitrova, PMG Landscape Architect. Our address is 4185 Still Creek Drive, Burnaby. A landscape for this drawing, for this project have been designed to incorporate 4 existing offsite trees at east north corner of the site. And we are proposing 2 existing trees to be preserved and relocated after the arborist will say it's appropriate to be. Each unit have been provided with private yards with patio and landscape for all trees along number 4 road, and patio and open lawn areas for buildings along east property line. They contain shade trees, landscape will contain including shrubs, grasses, perennials. Privacy from adjacent properties have been provided with 6-foot wood fence along east property line and 4 feet wood fence on top of small retaining walls along north and south property line. Streetscape have been improved with low transparent aluminum fence in contemporary style with gate with decorative architectural concrete columns with unit numbers, which is light. We're providing amenity area between building D and E at east side. We're including play area for younger one with play equipment which provide different play opportunities as sliding, climbing, social, motor skills, and it's proposed for units for kids in different age group between 18 months and 5 years, and multiple kids can use that play equipment. For lower area, this amenity area is separated in 2 levels. One is upper level where the play area is located, and the lower area is located in that right-of-way corridor along east property line. There is no trees proposed in right-of-way corridor, and everything constructed in tree protection area, it's under arborist supervision. Permeable pavers have been proposed for all visitor parking spots, and for the driveway connected between number 3 road and amenity space at Central Park, a part of the driveway. All ACs proposed along number 4 roads are screened, and they're not visible from the street, from the sidewalk. There is a bench proposed for caregivers, and next to the mail kiosk and a play area. Amenity space, it's lighted with bollard lights. We have proposed bike rack for 2 bikes between building D and between building C. We're lighting that area too with 1 bollard light. And that's an overview for landscape plan for this project.
Okay, can I just start with a question? The two trees that are being relocated,
Yes.
where are they located on that plan?
One is proposed along number 2 road. It's between building B and A. It's on that a little bit right. Yes. And the second one, it's just south of unit 8-9.
Okay, so you're pointing to it there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good. Thank you.
And we work with civils, just to provide enough space. As per our Bruce report, we required minimum untouchable area for those trees.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Cheng in his presentation outlined you're doing quite a lot to protect the trees on the neighbour's property, and I'm assuming to accommodate the ones that you're going to relocate there. Okay, Milton or Cecilia, do you have any questions for the applicant team?
Just one. On the heat pump, I heard that you're doing ground source heat pump. I assume that it will meet the noise requirements because some of them could be somewhat noisy.
Yeah, that's correct. We have acoustic consultant on board to look at the dB for the machine.
Thank you.
So is it a ground source system or is it individual air source pumps?
It's an air source system. Thank you.
So each unit has how does that work? How many units are there?
Each unit we have one machine, and that and individually. Yeah.
So where are they going to be located?
As we mentioned, some of them are located in the front yard, but they are totally screened by the high quality fence, and that could be removable for future maintenance.
Okay, so they're near the front property line somewhere, are they?
Yes, that's correct. Not on the property line, but in front of the building.
There.
Oh, okay.
Close to the building. Yeah, that's correct. More precise.
Okay. Sorry to jump in on your question, Cecilia.
But thanks.
Yeah, sometimes I worry with so many of them that, they're going to create noise in some of the public spaces or to other people, maybe existing neighbours or that sort of thing. But it sounds like you've given it a fair bit of thought.
Sorry.
Okay, Milton, did you have anything?
Just one question about cross-access. You mentioned there was a cross-access agreement for the north property. How about the south? Was there going to be an existing provision for that as well?
No, we are not required to provide on the south side because they have enough they have enough frontage for their own 50 meters for the minimum frontage. So we are not required to provide them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, Mr. Craig, do you have comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to clarify, in terms of driveway access, we are providing statutory right-of-way and cross-access both north and south, not just to the north. In terms of concept plans, there was a concept plan provided for the properties to the north as they are undersized. There is no concept plan provided for the properties to the south.
Okay.
In terms of additional comments, the applicant's presentation was quite comprehensive, so I'll keep it brief. There are two variances associated with this project. The first is a setback variance to number 4 road, reducing the setback from 6 meters to 4.5 meters. That variance was identified at time of rezoning, and it is a function of the 2-meter road dedication, which is being provided along number 4 road. As part of the development permit application, the applicant was required to provide an acoustical report demonstrating that all of the front units will achieve CMHC interior noise standards. There is a second variance for lot depth. This variance is again a function of the 2-meter road dedication. The application has been designed to meet all of the city's urban design policies, and staff do support the lot depth variance, given it is a technical variance associated with the road dedication. there will be a servicing agreement associated with this project for frontage improvements along number 4 road, the utility upgrades along the rear property line, and site services. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Craig?
Sorry, he just reminded me of something. The property to the north, because it's a smaller lot and has a lot of constraints, has there been any attempts to consolidate that lot into this development?
I have the owners in a meeting. Jason, can you say a few words?
Hi, this is speaking from Jason Liang, representative of KDM Number 4 Development. Good afternoon. So we have attempted to consolidate 2 lots by sending out request intend to buy letters like a while ago, and apparently the 2 owners of that 2 lots didn't respond at all. So we've tried subsequently, but there's no success apparently. So we have to move without that to Lawton North. Yeah, thank you.
So you have made efforts, but they haven't come to anything. And
yeah, in a nutshell, yes, we have made that.
I think Mr. Craig, outlined that we've now made provisions so they can develop at a later date if so wished. Yeah. Okay. So I don't think we have any more questions from the panel. So I'm going to ask, we'll open it up for members of the public to provide comments. And I believe that we do have a member of the public in the chamber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we do. We have a gentleman that wishes to speak on the application.
Okay, terrific. Just pick your favorite chair.
I live at 10271 Dennis Crescent, which is directly behind the development. I have some questions. Let me say I'm certainly not against the development because we need more housing, and I think we should welcome developments of this nature. I do have some questions about it. First of all, there is an easement on my property and on the developer's property. I assume that remains intact. And with regard to that, when the initial proposal came to the door, we were told that there was going to be a sewer development too. The sewer is going to be increased, and that whole easement would have been torn up. The new sewer line would have gone in, and it'd be replaced. Which brings up a question of the trees further down the line, that the setback, the variation in setback entails. If that sewer upgrade is going ahead, those trees are toast. So I would appreciate some comment on that. The other thing I'm not clear about is parking, and I assume that the parking spaces are included in the first floor of the building.
Okay, we can. I think what I'll do, sir, is ask Mr. Craig to address some of those issues because they're mostly technical. So, Wayne, can you maybe starting with the easement and whether it remains intact?
Yes, so there is an existing sanitary sewer right-of-way that straddles the rear property line shared with the delegates' property. That right-of-way will remain in place. The sanitary sewer is being upgraded through the servicing agreement with this property. the trees to the north that were referenced, in fact, what is happening is the right-of-way is being expanded on the development site to allow the sewer to be relocated around those trees so that those trees will not be impacted as a result of the sewer upgrade. With respect to parking, all of the units do provide 2-car side-by-side garages, and there is a total of 4 visitor parking stalls provided on the site as well.
Yeah, so I think that in Mr. Cheng's presentation, he made some detailed reference to additional, is it a statutory right-of-way, Wayne? I guess deflecting to the west so that the sewer can be moved away from the root zones of the existing trees. So they should, I mean, there's never a guarantee with trees, but they should. It's not intended that they be toast. It's intended that they be protected and kept. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your questions and for attending today. Evangel, do we have anything? Is there anyone else that wants to comment, or is there anything written on this?
None, Mr. Chair. No correspondence either, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we do have a positive recommendation if I have a mover and a seconder. Okay, moved Cecilia Milton. I think on the variances, I'll just say that they really existed even at the time of rezoning, and they're a function of the road widening that we're taking, so I don't have any problem with them. So it is moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All those in favour? Opposed? So it's carried. Great. Thanks for your project, and I really did appreciate the presentations. They were very clear and comprehensive. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jason again from the owner representative. Yeah, thank you for moving this project. And I have one extra comment on what the gentleman from his neighbor to address his concern about the Sentry upgrade. So we apart from the enlarged SRW that we're going to reroute the Sentry line in order to protect the neighbor's trees. There's the other part along the East Prairie line. The existing Sentry line is actually on the neighbor's SRW. The original design was to kind of dig into the neighbor's backyard to upgrade it. But recently, like really recently, we have been discussing with the potential contractor to come up with a better solution to in one way to protect the backyard of the neighbors, and in another way to make it a less damaging process and also cost effective. So it's a win-win situation, we think, but we haven't officially proposed to the engineering, but we will do that in the servicing process. So we've done a technical analysis, and it's no problem at all that we can bring the upgraded Sentry line into our SRW, and because we are just parallelly moving the Sentry line, so we can cap the existing one and maybe concrete fill it and abandon it, but we build a new existing new Sentry line in our 3-meter SRW.
Yeah,
this way, we don't need to dig into like 4 of our neighbors on the east side, and also we don't need to. We just need to build a new one, which is potentially much cheaper and it's happy for everyone. So this is just one extra comment that I want to raise to the panel, and that we are planning to do right after this DP panel for the service.
Well, thank you for those comments, and I'm sure that your neighbour will appreciate hearing that. Yeah, I think that if you can actually put a new line in within your development and maybe just abandon rather than dig up or rip up the existing, then that's probably best for the trees. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for those comments.
Thank you.
So I just have to power up my iPad here for the agenda. That brings us to the third application, which is, just bear with me. Okay, so the third application is again a development permit. The applicant is Polygon Talisman Park Limited. It's a number of properties in the vicinity of Canby Road and Sexsmith Road. And the purpose of this development permit is to allow for the construction of 276 rental units. I think they're market rental and below market rental units. And there is a variance associated with this. A height variance, it's to increase from 25 metres to 27.6 metres, a small portion of one of the buildings for an elevated shaft. So with that, who's going to present this one today? Mr. Glover?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Welcome. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon. My name is Robin Glover with Polygon Homes. I'm here today making a presentation with Greg Voot from RLA Architects and Yergoosh from PWL Landscape Architects. So I will just speak to a couple of slides here at the beginning, and then I will turn it over to Greg to take it from there. I'm hoping you can all see my screen.
We can, yeah.
Excellent. So Talisman Park, we have been working on this project now for about 5 years. What we're speaking about today, a development permit panel, is this first phase here, which is a pair of 6-story wood frame buildings on one single parkade podium that's partially submerged. It is the first phase of a 4-phase development. We have this project here at the center. It is in the development permit process right now. The second parcel here at the corner of Garden City and Capstan is also in for development permit, and we are working away on the final phase over here. As part of our servicing agreement application, all of the perimeter offsite works on the, 4 perimeter roads, Sexsmith, Capstan, Garden City, and Canby, will be completed with occupancy of the first phase here at this Talistar A project. And we have also, now that we've been through the rezoning and subdivision process, we've turned over this portion of land here, which is designated as a future city park. And we have entered a separate servicing agreement to complete that work there as well. So that's kind of setting the table for the project. And Greg, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Robin. Hello, everyone. Thanks for this letting me present this project. We're excited to be working on it, and I look forward to your comments. This is obviously two, as Robin explained, 2 6-story wood frame buildings on a single parkade. But just the massing has been arranged so that there are 2 buildings in U-shape, both east and west, that surround a central courtyard. In the courtyard, it will be the central amenity for the project. There is a pathway that leads between the 2, going north, which is on the left, and south, it's on the east, and that leads to a new neighborhood city park, which is just to, as you can see, on the south side, on the right side. All the units on these buildings are all surrounding the edges and perimeters to create active edges for the patios and homes overlooking the public spaces. And this central amenity, it will be accessible. Next slide, please. So the building on the top of the page is the East Building, Building 1. It's an affordable housing project. There are 156 affordable rental homes in this building. The building on the west, which is at the bottom of the page, Building 2 is a market rental housing. There's 120 homes, market rental homes there. And you can see that by this diagram on the north side, all the indoor amenities are close to the entries. They on the north side, which is the left, you can see the new road coming in from the left. That cul-de-sac provides access to both buildings, so the lobbies are for building 1 and 2 are close to that access point. Then the amenities are surrounding those entries. The parking access comes from the cul-de-sac. It comes down, as pointed out here, and the loading and garbage staging area is in that zone right there. All these homes will meet the Richmond Basic Universal Housing Standards, and the pathway leading from the cul-de-sac from the north to the south park will be accessible via this ramp that's shown on the south side that's pointed out. Next slide, please. So the way we've expressed the architecture is by emphasizing the corners. We've expressed each of those significant corners on the site with a frame. And those frames are the largest at the entrance, just to emphasize the entry. And you can see in this artistic visualization that the cul-de-sac and the 2 entries are right from that point. And on the picture on the upper right, you can see some of the frames around the other corners of the building. The entry canopies you can see on the left are all expressed with the warm wood colors and to make it more inviting. And you can see by the visualizations the ramp coming through the 2 buildings and access to the future park. Next page, please. This is a visualization from the south, from the park side, looking towards the 2 buildings, and you can see how the massing, the overall massing, starts with the 6-story buildings in front of you and builds up to the future polygon development and above left. Taller massing is further north, and they're all in DP process. You can see again in this picture the accessible ramp for the future park. Next page, please. So the parkade is, like a lot of buildings in Richmond, is partly out of the ground because of groundwater. So we have essentially a 6-story building, which is around 18 meters height to the standard roof height, with some pop-ups that come up to 20 meters. And then there's this parkade. So we've hidden the parkade with landscape walls at the half height and dressed those planters up with amazing landscaping and trees in front, and more will be shown in the landscape portion. The roof pop-ups are marching along the facade in all directions to give articulation on the roof, and they relate to the stepping in the building in a comfortable and visually pleasing way. The other thing is the DEU, or the district energy plant, is in the center courtyard in this case, and it adds animation to our courtyard, and it's above the floodplain, so it's ideally located to optimize the courtyard spaces and provide interest. Next, please. Our color scheme is essentially driven by lighter colors at the top of the building and feature colors at the corners. As can be seen here, we've got a blue and a green and yellow And I'll show you later how that relates, but it's essentially a light colored building with a dark base. The materials vary from the feature wood cladding, wood look-alike, because this is a non-combustible building. Not real wood, but it looks like wood. There's fiber cement and fiber cement boards that are used. There's light panels, glass with a frit pattern we'll get into later. And the windows have various frame colors, white and black. Next slide, please. This shows a corner feature, a typical corner feature with our accent color and the grass pattern that's going to be a frit pattern on the glass for the corner balconies, the features. And it's bird friendly, and we're using that bird friendly pattern on all the glazing. I believe it's below a certain level. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what they were, but and anyways, it's on the drawings. The frit pattern will be used as required. Next slide, please. You can see by this diagram the variety of color, and this is in part an expression of the art district and to create variety and interest in the architecture. And that small diagram, the key feature on the bottom right, gives you an idea of how the colors are arranged on the buildings. There's a yellow corner, a blue corner, green corner, kind of going around the buildings. Next. This is a detail of the entries, and it shows how it's a contemporary style entry. It's got some clean wood colored materials that give it warmth, and it'll have glue lamp beams and posts, which will really stand out as features to the entries. Next slide, please. Our DEU building is reimagined to match the character of the building. And it's got the brick, and it's got some wood columns, and there's a climbing wall that's going to be a feature on the south face to add to the kids' play area, which will be described by landscape. Next slide, please. We show this slide to illustrate how we've dealt with the architectural expression of the height along Cambie. You can see in this diagram there's the low wall starting at the bottom that's built up and to hide the parkade in the background. There's the parkade that has been stepped back and forwards to create interest and in rhythm with the architecture. The railings are two different artistic patterns to create emphasis to that change. We have dark brick base, lighter upper building, and you can see the variety of planting, which will be described by landscape with trees and small low-scale planting in front. Next slide, please. And I'll hand it over to Gurgush.
Wonderful. Thank you, Greg. Hello, everyone. My name is Yergush Oprishal. I'm a landscape architect and an associate at PWL Partnership. I'm also joined today by Grant Brampton, who's a partner in charge of the project. So as we've heard already, and as Robin described, the development is well nestled in the Capstan Village, in between the kind of village heart and the future park along Cambie Street. And the images that you can see here kind of helped us to form the character of the robust and successful community that we're hoping to create. Next, please. So identifying the parameter of the site, here we're looking at the Garden City, which is actually located to the east. North is located to the left of the page and is framed by a statutory right-of-way. The materials along Garden City Road are characterized by cast-in-place concrete sidewalk, planted boulevard, with trees, and a separated bike lane. The pedestrian character is enhanced by robust planting and the two-tier walls that Greg already described. The two-tier walls were discussed in depth with the city staff, and the heights have been established to benefit the pedestrian experience and also to hide the parkade wall. Moving to the north side of the project, the SRW connects the east and the west of the site and leads you into the entry of the project. Maybe we can shift to the next slide. Here is the termination of the new road and the entry into the project, where you step up or you take ramp up onto the podium that I will be describing separately on the following sheet. Another item that I will discuss also is the pathway along the eastern edge of the property, and that leads from the community, Capstan Village, into the future park. We are retaining all the trees there, but I will touch on it in the later slides. Next, please. So up on the podium, we tried to create a robust and great place for the community. We have a children playground characterized by the elements that you can see on the right-hand side. There's the DEU building that Greg already spoke about, and we are trying to incorporate the landscape with the building by incorporating planting on the left, and also the climbing wall on the right-hand side, which is the south side, to enhance the play areas. We've provided quite a lot of planting in the courtyard, and also created privacy that separate the individual patios and the public realm that's kind of centered in the middle. The whole axis that you can see kind of moving from north to south terminates within a trellis that we'll look at in the sectional cut later on, and overlooks onto the future park located along Canby Road. I think we can move to the next slide. As mentioned, we're preserving all the trees along the eastern edge of the property. We've been working closely with the arborists to achieve it. The material for the proposed future path is a granular path with organic binder. Therefore, the path will be universally accessible. We are also trying to work out the grading to minimize the slopes and at the same time retain the trees. And I believe we have done that successfully. And we are, in addition to the retained trees that you can see with the circle outlines, we are also proposing the solid trees that you can see there to kind of frame the entry through the neighborhood into the park. The second element I would like to mention is the roof urban agriculture area, where we're proposing urban agriculture planters, robust space to kind of maneuver around, and as F18, a table with a storage, a potting table with a storage for tools, so that users can be able to enjoy and work up there. Next, please. So this slide describes the kind of character of the podium space. This section is cut moving from left to right, that's east towards west, and it captures the private patios along the buildings, moves into the landscapes, which kind of provides undulation in order to create some sort of diversity and greater interest. And then moving more east towards the DEU, we see the climbing wall I already described, and more planting and patio spaces all the way along east. Next, please. Here, further sections describe the character of the trellis, how it overlooks onto the future park that will be on the right-hand side, and relationships of the two-tiered walls with the streetscape along Garden City Wall and along the west side at the parkway. I think this summarizes the landscape, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentations. Let's see if we have any questions. Cecilia, Milton?
I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
The internal walkway that joins the park to the cul-de-sac, is that intended to be also available to the neighborhood? Because you have the walkway already along the side of the property for that?
Yes, I think maybe I can start and Robin can possibly finish. Yes, there are no gates. This is open to everyone. There is a staircase, which may seem like it's a little bit of a barrier, but there's also a ramp. And so people can choose if they want to walk through the courtyard or they wish to walk around the building.
Okay.
So
and then
everyone's welcomed, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Following that, then my concern is from a septet perspective. It's very good, and there's lots of eyes on the podium, obviously, for all the units that's internal facing. A small concern is, it joins the park and there's a ramp, and especially at nighttime, that somebody can go through the park, up the ramp, and do whatever, right? Within your property, as well as using it as another route to escape or get through the neighborhood. So is there any provisions for that, lightings? I don't know. How are you dealing with that aspect?
Yeah, absolutely. We are providing lighting along all the walls, all the landscape walls and the ramp. So this space will be well lit, and we are also not providing any openings where people can hide or create mischief or anything like that. So the space will be well lit. There'll be eyes from the residents above and the overall neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Milton, anything? Okay, great. I don't have any particular questions, but just through the presentations, there's obviously a lot of attention to both architectural and landscape details. So I appreciate that. I think that brings us to staff presentation. Wayne, do you have comments on this?
Just a couple brief comments, Mr. Chair. There is an extensive transportation demand management package associated with this project. That is elaborated in the staff report. It does include the provision of transit pass program. Would also like to thank the applicant for providing a rental project that is 100% universal in terms of all of the units meeting the city's basic universal housing guidelines. There is one variance associated with the project. That variance is to provide elevator access to the urban agricultural building or agricultural deck, which is on the top of the affordable building. The variance is limited to the elevator access for that garden area. Nothing further. Happy to answer any questions.
Wayne, on that variance, I don't have a problem with it. It seems pretty localized, but how did it come about? Did we write some comprehensive zone for this site? And did this come about after that, or why are we dealing with a variance?
Thank you. Through the rezoning process, the applicant did make a commitment to provide a demonstration urban agricultural garden on the rooftop of that deck. When that commitment was made, the rationalization as to how access would be provided wasn't fully designed.
Right.
As we went through the development permit, that is where the height variance came into play.
So this will give full accessible access. This variance will facilitate a full accessible access to that rooftop?
That is correct.
And without it, we wouldn't have that, presumably.
Correct. We'd be limited to stair access, which not ideal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Where are we at in the process? Oh, public comments. Evangel, do we have anyone in the chamber that is here to comment on this project?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No one has requested to speak on this item.
Okay. And anything written?
None, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. We've got a positive staff recommendation. Milton, are you going to move it? Yeah. Cecilia's going to second it. I'll just go straight to call the question. But, as I was listening to the presentation, I guess I'm not going straight to calling the question, but it struck me as I was listening to the presentations, there's nothing about this that reads like a rental or an affordable project. Like in the detail of the architecture, the landscaping, I think it's impressive, and I kind of appreciate the effort that you put in. So anyway, yeah, I better call the question then. All those in favour? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. There you go. That was easier than the rezoning, wasn't it?
Thank you very much, all of you. It's been a lot of hard work on all sides of the screen. And Joe, I do appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Wayne, I think you sent me a message that we can cancel the next meeting. Is that July 12th?
That is correct. We do not have any agenda items for the 12th. That meeting can be cancelled.
Okay, we need a motion for that, eh? Moved, seconded, call the question. It's cancelled. Anything else before we adjourn?
No new business, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone, and we're adjourned.